guys, welcome back to another webcast. Today we will be learning about rational numbers. Here's a real life example of when we are using numbers in different form in baseball. So the statistics below are for the 2006 Major League Baseball season. So here we have Cabrera hit 195 times. However, he was at bats 576 times. So this number right here can be written as a ratio of hits to the number of time at bats, which will be 195 over 576. The same ratio here written in fraction form can also be written as a decimal, which will be 0.339, or the way we normally will read this is 339 thousandths. Okay, now let's move on to some vocabulary. What are rational numbers? Now, rational numbers are numbers that can be written as a ratio of two integers. Okay, so for example, we usually sleep 8 hours in a day, and we have a total of hours of 24 hours in a day. So that number can also be represented in rational form as a ratio. Now, because we're talking about rational numbers, so that means we will be going from fractions to decimal form and vice versa. So things we need to know: terminating decimal mean that the decimal terminates. So just like it says, terminating decimal means it terminates. Here we have 0.25 and 0.75. These two decimals terminate, that means they stop. Okay, and here we have repeating decimal. Those numbers actually repeat. Now we can either have a regular number that's repeating. In this case, it's one number, 3333 and 0.333, and over here we have 0.666. That those two numbers are repeating. Now, to show that these numbers are repeating, the shortest way to write them is to put 0.3 with a bar over it, or another way is to use points. We could put 0.6 with 3 points behind it to let people know that the 6 is continued. Same here with the 3. However, this is the one that you will most likely see, because this right here can be confusing, like a point and then a bunch of points. This can be a little confusing. Also, sometimes we have a pattern that is being repeated. In, for example, we have 0.35. Okay, in this case, 353535 keeps repeating, so we will write this as 0.35 with a line over it as a number that keeps repeating. So here, how do we go from fractions, from fraction form to decimal form? It's very easy and very simple. First thing we want to do is to divide the numerator by the denominator, and then we round. Sometimes based on the question, they might want us to round to the nearest hundreds, the nearest tenths. So based on the questions. For example, we have 1/4. All we do is divide 1 divided by 4. Now, you do not have to do this manually. You can always grab a calculator and you do it. 1 divided by 4. And it will tell you it's 0.25. Now, we all know that 25 cents is a quarter. So that one we should be able to do it mentally. Also, we might have mixed numbers that we need to change to decimal form. In that case, when it is a mixed number, we want to completely forget about the whole number and only deal with the fraction part. So here we have -2 and 1/4. Forget about the -2. Convert the 1/4. We already know it's 0.25. And now where the 0 is, now we bring out the 2, the -2. So now we erase the 0 and we replace it with the whole number. Oops. And we replace it with the whole number. So first thing we do, ignore the whole number, only convert the fractions and then bring the whole number where the zero is. Okay, here are some example. Let's go ahead and do this one together. So here we have negative 7 and 3/8. I'm going to completely forget about the negative 7 and only deal with the 3/8. Okay, then you grab your calculator and you do 3 divided by 8. And in this case, this is 0.375. Okay, now I'm going to bring out the negative 7. And wherever I see the 0, I will replace it with negative 7. Okay, and there it is. So please go ahead and try 1, 3, and 4 by yourselves, pause, and then come back and get the answers. Alright, welcome back. So here are the answers for number 1. Number 1 is actually 1 and 1/5, which will be 1.2, negative 1.2. Number 2 we already did. 3/11 will be negative 0.27, which will be 27, negative 27 hundredths. And 1 and 5 over 27 will be a repeating decimal, 1.185. But with the 185, we want to make sure we put a line over it, because when we do 5 divided by 27, we get a oops. Okay, we get a pattern here that keeps on repeating. So we need to make sure we put a bar on top of that 185. Alright, next step is now we need to be able to go back from the decimal form to the fraction form. Now, first thing you want to do, step 1 here, which is to read the decimal. Okay, you want to read the decimal properly. For example, this right here is negative 26 hundredths. The 6 is in the hundredths place, so that's where we read it. So when we change it to a fraction, we put it 26 over 100. Now another shortcut, 0.26, two numbers after the decimal point, 1, 2. So I'm going to use 100 because it has two zeros in the back, 1, 2. That's an easy way to remember. And then we reduce, we divide by 2, and we get negative 13 over 15. Alright, let's go ahead and do number 6. Alright, so let's go ahead and do number 6 together. So here we have 125 thousandths. Best thing we want to do, 125, just like as we read it, thousand, so it will be over 1,000. Or 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal, 1, 2, 3 zeros that we need, and then from there we simplify. So let's go ahead and divide this by 25, and we'll get 5 over 40, and then we reduce it again, divided by 5, and we get 1/8. Okay, so once again, 1, 2, 3, 125 thousandths, 125 over 1,000. So, and then we reduce to 1/8. Go ahead and try the other ones by yourselves and come back to see the answer. Alright, welcome back. Now, number 5 here will be same as we read it, negative 7/10. Now there's nothing to reduce. Number 3, same as we read it, negative 3 and 1/10. Same as we will read it, nothing to reduce here. And then here we have negative 10 and 25 hundredths. And then we reduce 25 hundredths, which is negative 10 and 1/4. Okay, any questions? Please post them on Edmodo. Stop and rewind the video. Alright, let's go ahead and do one example. to find which of the sea creatures are deeper than the well. So the well is at 8 tenths below sea level, and we need to figure out which one of them is deeper. That means further down. So here's the top of the ocean. Is at 0 0.8. So we need to figure out which one of them is further down, swimming further down. So first thing we want to do is to go ahead and change these numbers to decimal form in order for us to be able to compare them. Alright, so this right here is 1 and 3 tenths, negative 1 and 3 tenths, which will be 1.3, negative 2 and 1/5, which will be negative 2.2, and negative 2/11. We divide it on the calculator, we'll get negative 0.18, but the 1/8 keep repeating. And once we have all the numbers in decimal form, then it is easy to see that the squid is deeper than the well. Okay, well, that's all. Please remember to take notes and post your questions on Edmodo. Remember, do not send them just to me, send them to the whole class so that your classmates can help you. That's it. Well, have a great day.